Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining our team of students at Assuaged. Today we are going to cover food and mood, plant-based foods to improve relationships. So going on to the first slide, we're going to show our rap song and hope you enjoy.
Yeah, okay, organic base, this is what you need. Take you to the future, live a life that can be disease free. All these toxins are taxing on our bodies, no doubt. All these GMOs and these processed foods we can live without. Yeah, wanna see you live a long time. Contaminants in our water and our food supply. From the meat to the dairy and the fish, what a shame. Not realizing that my insides were inflamed. Hold up, I know it's hard to digest, that's right. I found an organic plant-based website. I even got the app, yo, this is where it's at. Promoting a healthy life, it's time to put it on the map. Assuaged, trust you don't wanna miss. It's time for you to be your best, be your healthiest. Assuaged, trust you don't wanna miss. It's time for you to be your best, be your healthiest. Hey, Assuaged, let's go.
So let's talk food and mood. We do have an ebook that you are welcome to download. It is free. It's about 150 pages, and it talks all about plant-based living and how to be your healthiest and live longer. Mental health influences our mood and thereby our relationships. It becomes a vicious cycle when poor mental health impacts relationships, and that in turn worsens the mental illness. You can see we have a little chart, outlining the biological, social, and psychological components of how food impacts your mood. So,
I'll jump to 4. Plant-based foods to improve relationships. A vegan diet is known to cause good mental health and less aggression, which in turn keeps the individual happy and the relationship remains intact too. How non-vegan diets influence body and mind. When you nourish your body with healthy foods, you become an entirely new person. You learn how not to take things personally, and you can better relate to those you care about. When your mind and mind are polluted, you can often be portrayed as one-sided because that is how you are feeling. A form of self-victimization is having a lack of realization that is not all about you. Reduce stress and improve relationships equals veganism. After 7 to 30 days of incorporating plant-based foods into your diet, you should begin noticing reduced feelings of mental stress. You will likely see an improvement in your relationships.
Love that. Positive mental health toolkit. So as you can see here, there's a pie chart with different steps, a health toolkit to becoming your healthiest. So it's important to being kind to yourself, having positive and coping strategies, making sure that you have thinking skills, that you're being flexible and accurate with your thinking skills. The next one is building self, I think that says assurance there. Realizing good things in life, being grateful, that's definitely important. That's one of the keys of being happy. Using problem solving, and then setting and achieving goals that will help build your confidence. And then hanging with your friends, having social skills, and the ability to seek assistance when you need it. So these are this is the positive mental health toolkit. And as you can see on the left-hand side, here's that transitional lifestyle guide and meal plan, and you can get that now. Food, mood, and anti-aging. There are chemical contaminants in our food and water supplies that cause disease over time. These harmful foods can also contribute to various skin diseases that advance aging processes. If you want to retain a youthful appearance, it is essential to consume at least 80% of plant-based foods in your overall diet. So what can you eat? You want to be sure that you're your healthiest and you live your longest here at Assuaged. So eating fresh produce, grains, pasta, legumes, nuts, seeds and beans, natural ingredients and or flavors are typically not transparent. So here's a couple of charts here. There's foods to avoid. It's obvious that, soda and French fries and those kinds of things are not going to let you live your healthiest and live your longest. And there's a chart there with foods to consume: 100% whole grains, nuts, beans, I keep saying beets, fruits and vegetables. So what not to eat, just to dive into this a little further. Take the time to read through food labels and familiarize yourself with trustworthy brands that do not include toxic ingredients. High fructose corn syrup is among the most harmful ingredient that you will often find in products that can lead to diabetes. And sometimes they sneak those in, so it's, again, important to read those labels. Milk, cheese, hot dogs, and bacon are foods that are highly processed and unhealthy foods that may advance mental and physical disease. If you consume meat and fish, I recommend purchasing USDA certified organic meats and wild-caught sockeye salmon. Avoid buying farmed fish because the waters in which they are raised are polluted with fish fecal matter, which is not good for you, obviously.
So now it's time for our discussion, and of course it's going to be on today's topic, and we encourage all participants to get involved and engage in this discussion. So discussion question 1. Do the effects and intensity of mental illness differ between individuals? And the answer is yes, it's different for everyone. Mental illness can affect people at different levels. Some people have more willpower and a positive support system. A positive support system is not someone who enables you to make bad choices. Enablers are negative influences, and they are often those you see on the intervention television show helping addicts feed their disease. And of course, everyone suffers with mental illness in a different way. So the effects are definitely going to be different for everyone.
I have something I wanted to add on this, and it is a discussion, so all of us should kind of weigh in on the effects and the intensity of, how mental illness can affect different people. I know there's allergens, there's foods, there's substances that are going to be more impactful to your individual health. So, Victor, I'd love to hear your opinion on this.
Yeah, for sure. No, one important thing to take into mind is that enabling isn't necessarily someone actively going and encouraging people to do these things. Oftentimes, enabling can be just turning the other cheek when it would actually be in both your and the person who is participating in this negative behavior's best interest to actually, take a good hard look at what's actually going on. And oftentimes, if both parties are, they have a level of consciousness about what they're doing, then things can, be changed. But of course, the old adage goes that you can't help those who don't want to be helped. So it's just a matter of like juggling between, well, do I want to put myself in a bad situation by helping someone who is not willing to participate in self-growth, or would it be in both of our best interests to make a change together with team spirit in a sense. So yeah.
I want to agree with you, Victor. I've definitely seen this in relationships, whether it's love relationships or family relationships, where I think sometimes the other person doesn't intentionally do it. They just fear the change, almost like, oh, I don't want my spouse to change, or it's more kind of out of fear. So they tend to not to be unsupportive, but not knowingly, like what you're saying, not turn the other cheek, or not knowingly being unsupportive. So good point. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a certain degree of active empathy involved, I would have to say. It's just a matter of gauging, with your friend or whoever is in need of this kind of help.
For sure.
I would just add really quick. Sorry, I know the slide was changing so quickly. That my mother suffered from depression, and we found that we were able to help her most when she was wanting to be helped. There was times when she wouldn't seek it out and she'd shut us out, but when she would be willing, sometimes you just can't get that person to be willing to be helped. So uh, then we could succeed when she was willing to go along with it. That's it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right, discussion question 2. Do enablers help mentally ill people? So enablers are a negative influence, and they are often those you see on the intervention shows, helping addicts feel their disease, as I mentioned before. So a positive support system is not someone who enables you to make bad choices. So overall, enablers are not helping mentally ill people because they contribute to factors that just fuel this behavior that a mentally ill person may be partaking in. And as it was mentioned before, even just turning that blind eye to it and not stating how you feel, that you aren't that you're not that you don't like that certain behavior or whatever it is, that'll just kind of make the person who's struggling kind of feel like, oh, well, I guess I'm not doing anything that bad. No one's really trying to stop me or anything. So I think enablers definitely do not help mentally ill people.
Another thing I want to make a point of saying is that it is also important not to demonize enablers. Oftentimes, when someone is enabling another person to do something that they shouldn't be doing or that is not in their best interest, it often might come from a sense of fear or a lack of better information, right? So I guess in this case, when we're trying to determine if enablers are helping mentally ill people, the question is what is the degree of the mental illness, or at what stage are they in their mental illness? And oftentimes, if they're in a higher stage, or a more problematic stage for that person, then the enabler can become an even bigger problem. So it's just a matter of being able to determine the best way to help other people and to get them away from other people who are making matters worse, without being I guess you could say, dictatorial about it, dogmatic in a sense.
I love that. I love how you kind of weighed in on that. And I know enablers, they can be kind of victimized because, some of them are kind of sick themselves. They have bad habits, and so they just don't know any better way than to, cater to the needs of their loved ones. So we do see that a lot in the intervention show. And in many ways, it's really sad. But I think just being that beacon of light, that support, as much as you can without tapping into those enabling tendencies is what I've seen that can kind of be one of the best remedies. So, Dean, do you have anything to weigh in on?
Yes, there's. I just want to point out, we have a lot of situations with celebrities where a celebrity has, undergone some things, drug addiction, and finally passed away. And there's one famous case, without naming names, of a very famous female singer who was married to a famous male singer, and they always call that guy the enabler. And also turns out that the daughter passed away as well. So he's known as the big enabler. He's also one of the largest, greatest icons of the 80s and 90s in the pop business. So I think we all might know who this was. And, he's been vilified and whatnot. And is he really guilty of the death of his wife, who was even more famous than him, or his daughter? We don't know. So, but these people do get vilified, as Victor was saying. But there's some truthfulness to it all. So I guess we have to just judge on our own.
Oftentimes the biggest, I guess you could say that the biggest remedy is better information, for all parties involved. And receptiveness to that information, of course, matters too.
Absolutely.
All right, discussion question 3. What adds to the intensity of mental illness? So, disability and mental illness often go hand in hand. Whatever the nature of your condition is, you're likely feeling inferior because you're trying to overcome the obstacles. Feeling inferior means the wake up every morning feeling defective and broken inside and out. Sometimes the anxiety reaches its peak and you cannot breathe, you could only hide. Mental illness can cause stress, which can lead to gastrointestinal disorders, which can feel everything that we are emotionally experiencing because we are attached to it. So yeah, I think that just mental illness, especially the stress that comes with mental illness, is associated with just countless, health issues. Even sometimes I've heard this, if you're really stressed, you might get acne. Other conditions are likely to develop when you're really struggling with something else. So a lot of different factors add to the intensity of it all.
And I think just to add to that, if you don't recognize and are aware that you're struggling, then your body does eventually break down. It takes a toll, physically on your body. And so one of the first steps in decreasing the intensity of mental illness is to be aware of it and to get help before it, just takes over your mind and your body.
I'll just add autoimmune diseases. They sometimes piggyback on mental illness, which I'm sure Annette, you're very familiar with being a nurse. You've probably seen this. People sometimes they develop MS or they develop lupus or just from severe being depressed, unhappy, the body just starts to attack itself, and things just get worse for that person when that happens. And oftentimes there's no cure for some of those once they begin.
Definitely. Thank you.
I'd also go so far as to say that I guess you could say, just childhood trauma that hasn't been looked at and observed in a healthy way. Also, it really, oftentimes people say that it isn't true, but it really does build up over time and become like this big ball of stuff that you really, really need to tackle oftentimes on your own, and do look within and actually see what's happening there. Of course, with the help of other people, but ultimately dealing with that kind of stuff and on your own is ultimately going to get you to a more free space, because it helps you to declutter and be like, okay, well, I don't want this anymore. I'm at least aware of this now. Now it's time to make a kind of change. Of course, it's an extremely complex process, but I do want to point out to people that it is something possible and that it is achievable, and that you can get to that point.
I'm just going to piggyback on that and say, a lot of people have stigmas or feel a stigma about going to see a therapist, but I think therapists are wonderful. If you want to keep it to yourself, go for it. But go see that person, unravel those thoughts in your mind that are not productive. Get it out. Sometimes that other ear listening is all you need to just kind of purge that and move on with the rest of your life. So,
yeah, I think luckily it's becoming more accepted these days, going to therapy and getting help, which is nice. And mental health just overall has become more recognized. So going to a therapist, and then Victor, to what you were saying, this is not a fix, but it definitely has helped me in my darker days, was doing meditation. And that was kind of what you're talking about with that whole looking within yourself and taking care of yourself, figuring those things out. That's been a huge help in my life. And I know a lot of people have benefited from meditation and yoga and those kinds of practices.
I've done that. I'm sorry, Victor. I've done it through Tai Chi. Tai Chi is pretty awesome too. I'm going to step out. Go ahead, Victor.
Yeah, no, as far as, therapy is concerned, oftentimes what a therapist can be is like your signpost in the right direction. They typically can, point you in the right direction for your recovery. But ultimately, when it comes to, truly being able to heal those wounds, that is something that is a journey that only you can take on, you know. With, of course, like I said, with the help of others, but it's a matter of, taking responsibility for the pain that still exists in your heart. And it's a beautiful thing, and it can be done. That's all I wanted to say about that.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to have all of these amazing students on the line with us today and just, empowering people, educating them on healthier ways of living. One of the backbone of the story is my husband and I. We're going on about 17 years of marriage. It didn't start out all pretty. We fought a lot. It was very volatile. We definitely had differences, and I was always just kind of trying to make my way through with the traumas that I went through, and then trying to understand what my husband went through. My husband is a disabled Marine. He was in the Marine Corps. About a year before we had met, he got a traumatic brain injury, tumbled in a car about 10, 11 times, and so that really impacted his ability. It messed up all the wires in his brain, if you will. So he never thought the same way or felt the same way again after that accident. So then I come in the picture and I have all my own traumas, being born with a craniofacial condition. I've had my face dismantled. I'm held up by screws. So I've had a lot of surgery there because of my condition. And so I was very lucky to have world-renowned doctors work on me, but I did have a very, very unstable family life at home with my mother, who was emotionally unavailable, and my stepfather, who was a registered sex offender. So my mom just didn't want to be homeless. She just settled. And so, the cycle of abuse, it continues a lot, and we don't really see that. And so I was always scared to be a mother myself because I didn't want to be the mother my mother was. Not that she was horrible, but no child should ever go through certain abuses. We all go through things in our lives that we're meant to learn from, but those kind of abuses where our parents are meant to protect us and they don't, there's something wrong with that. So I would say that took a lot for me to overcome, and my husband had his own traumas again. And so we both had to just kind of figure out and get a clue, especially when I came home one day and he had a gun to his head in 2012. So I had to figure out, okay, well, this is not going to work for both of us. We both looked at each other and said, okay, we're not healthy, we're not happy, we're headed for divorce. What do we do? So we just started dabbling in, it started out with organic food. So we got organic chicken, and we just started watching all these documentaries. We watched What's the Health. One thing we didn't really agree with was the cigarette, mentioning in there how cigarette smoking is equivalent to, eating meat. So that was kind of a strange statistic, but everything else made sense, and it kind of allowed us to dive into the vegan principles of living and just finding that health. And it took years for my skin to look this good. It wasn't like we went vegan and it was overnight and we're all healthy and happy. It was like years of working and still having breakdowns and problems and still working through those and becoming stronger. And I definitely would say we don't fight. We don't have the issues that we had when we weren't plant-based. So for me, that's really, demonstrated how food does impact your mood. Thane was drinking Pepsis, we were eating Twinkies, we were having cake for breakfast. So many different things that you wouldn't really tie into the psyche of how food can affect your mood. So that's just kind of our story there, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for sharing, Cynthia. That's an awesome story. Thank you.
You're so strong.
So the next slide, I think, Victor, you're covering slide number 16, right?
That's me.
Guys.
Just get to it real quick. All right, so let's see. So this is the 5th discussion question. And it looks like, okay, what do we got here? It says, are there any tools to help manage our mental health? So it looks like one major tool is Delta-8 CBD gummies. We actually have a competition, a TikTok dance competition related to this, in which the winner will receive a 1-year supply of free Delta-8 CBD gummies. So that is very exciting. We're looking forward to that. It actually just began yesterday. And the end of the competition will be December, 15th. That's correct, right, Cynthia? It is December 15th, right?
Yes, you nailed it.
Awesome. Okay, I remembered. And then we'll be randomly selecting the winner at the end. So yeah, let's see, what do we got here? So it says, incorporating plant-based foods to improve your mood. So of course that's something that you can do as well. One of Cynthia's favorites is Calm, the #1 mobile app for sleep and meditation. So that's essentially it's kind of like a meditation app where you have like all these different, what would they be called? Just all these different types of like music, like, meditative music. And I guess there are some like meditation sessions done by major meditative professionals. And then there's another tool called, sound machines for improved sleep. Another is using drops of essential oils in a burning candle or an air diffuser. Those are great ways to calm anxiety and other forms of mental health related issues. And there are also diffusers. So you can use those as a necklace or in your car while driving. Those also help with anxiety. Let's see what we got. Chapter.
I love it. I just wanted to add real quick but anxiety can be alleviated in so many ways. I don't know if anyone listens to musical mantras, but that kind of sound machine, if you sleep and you listen to binaural beats while you're sleeping, it really can kind of change the DNA in your brain. And there's been a lot of studies on it, and it's really nerdy, kind of geeky language I'm speaking here, but it's sound is everything. Hearing water run. I know when we go to Kiss the Monkey's house in Redondo, they have this big, huge water fountain inside the house. So all you hear is like just water running, and it's just so like zen and relaxing. So I just wanted to add that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've actually never used Calm. I usually use that, what's that one app? I can't remember the name of it. Headspace? Has anyone here used Headspace before?
I have not heard of that.
That one's really nice.
But I haven't used it.
Yeah, no, that one's really nice. It's I can't remember the name of the guy, but he's actually a Buddhist monk, Tibetan Buddhist monk, and he does most of the meditative sessions on there. He's very well known, actually. He also made a Netflix series as well, just a Headspace Netflix series. It's really, really good. Let me just go to the 17th slide real quick. All right, so this is the 6th discussion question. And it is, can Macaroon powder help one to balance mental health? Let's see. So Macaroon, it has flavonoids, and they help improve your mental well-being and also your mood. And of course, just like many other of these examples, it reduces sadness and anxiety, especially in menopausal women. Let's see. And then there's also saffron, St. John's wort, and geranium oil, which are also found to be useful for mental health and reducing stress. So you'll notice that there's a pattern here of all sorts of different types of, I guess you could say, like substances and stuff like that are very similar to maca root that can put you in that place where you're, feeling calm and relaxed. And these things are actually great supplements while also doing things like meditation or for sleeping or, I guess you could say, feeling more comfortable when having conversations with people or when doing live events as well. And then an extra perk is that maca helps with butt growth.
For those who want butt growth, I just think it's funny because not everybody would be seeking butt growth, but we get a lot of phone calls for Assuaged, and there are people that want Kardashian butts, so it's out there, and I just wanted to kind of laugh and ring on that tone, Victor. I hope you don't mind.
No, you're fine. It's okay. I mean, let's see. Yeah, 18. I'm gonna go to slide 18 now. Let's see. So this is the 7th discussion question. What are some of the most unhealthy foods to eat? So this goes without saying that corn, soy, and wheat oftentimes come in very high GMO forms, so they're very they're modified genetically on a myriad of levels, and the best option or alternative option to these things is to get organic forms of them instead. So whenever you're going to the store, the grocery store, try your best to find labels on them that say organic. And of course, you want to make sure that the labels are true. Sometimes there are foods at stores where they'll say that they're organic, but then they have all sorts of other weird little genetically modified things in them as well. So it's just a matter of doing a little bit of research first before just taking labels and stuff like that for granted. And so there's also fish. Of course, fish can be very unhealthy if you are careful about your research. Oftentimes they have, a lot of them are very contaminated. The sea, as we all know, is very contaminated, as well as many other, fresh water or like river water and all that. They are polluted like crazy by microplastics, oil pollutions. They have a lot of mercury, and there's a lot of radiation going on, medical waste. So there is so much, and our best bet while looking for healthy fish is to, of course, try to find stuff that is less polluted. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to find anything that is completely unpolluted. And then, of course, there's also sugar and salt, which can be very inflammatory if taken or if eaten in, extreme, high doses, which that is also extremely hard to avoid now because of fast food and other food that is on the market. And we want to avoid food with coloring dyes and other chemical substances. There's always monk fruit and molasses, which are actually healthier forms of sweeteners. And then pink Himalayan salt is actually some of the, it's actually a greater alternative to the typical salt that you'll see on the market. It spares you from the microplastics, which you will find in typical table salts, and even like white sea salt as well.
Awesome. Does anybody have anything to weigh in? What are some unhealthy foods? Like I was talking about Twinkies and Zingers and soda.
I mean, I got cinnamon buns that I'm going to be making later today, which is not the healthiest thing in the world.
Well,
you have to make exceptions for something.
That's right.
I was laughing too, Cynthia, because you said cake for breakfast, and that used to be like one of my favorite things, like a piece of cake or pie for breakfast with coffee. That's pretty bad.
Oh, and Starbucks. I remember when we lived and worked in Vegas. So we were in Las Vegas for 3 years, and every morning I would get up, get ready, go to Starbucks. I'd get like 2 lemon loaf and the largest Starbucks venti frappuccino with chocolate and caramel drizzled inside the cup, with extra whipped cream inside the cup, like at the bottom, and then my frap with more whipped cream and drizzle on the top. And that was like my jam. And then I would walk across the street to like Vaughn's and get like a large Monster or a Red Bull. And I did that every day for my work.
That is crazy.
But it keeps you up, right? It keeps your energy high.
Good old caffeine.
Now this is all natural though. Now I do like raw juicing, and I get like people say they kind of refer to me as like an octopus, and I guess that's good because I'm able to kind of like multitask, and sometimes I get in my head, like we're talking about mental health here, so sometimes I notice like when you eat like lower vibrational foods, you can tend to be a little bit more impulsive and not think. It's always good to kind of think before you just rush into taking an action or to saying something. That's how you're able to be kind of conscious of feelings, because sometimes someone will take something that you said out of context. So I always like to say food on the aspect of mood is critical when it comes to making those healthier choices.
I just want to put it in and say that just like how just of course sweets and candies are unhealthy, but even like the particular substance Red 40, I've been like doing a lot of like I've been reading articles on it, and it's crazy just how bad it is for you. Red 40, which is like in Gatorade, Fruit Loops, like things people eat for breakfast, candy, drinks, and it's even like banned in Europe. Like the EU banned it because of like the negative health outcomes, and it's just really crazy. So just really doing your research and looking into chemicals is really important to your health. Even just, I'm going on and on, but when I was doing all this research, there's like different like big brands like Kraft mac and cheese has like ingredients are like they sell like their box of Kraft they sell in America, and it's like totally different ingredients than the one that's available in Europe, just because they have so many other ingredients banned, like preservatives and all these chemicals. Like you look and there's like 15 ingredients on the America version of it, and then in Europe there's like 4 or 5. So that really was just like crazy to me. I'm like, oh my goodness, so much bad stuff out here. I don't even know.
I'll piggyback on what you just said about color. Caramel color is shown to be cancerous, which is in many drinks and some other soft drinks. Dr. Pepper, and if the NutraSweet that's in the diet one doesn't kill you, the caramel one will kill you in the regular one. So it's really you got to watch out that caramel color. So we do drink some soda here, but we don't get the ones with caramel color. That's all.
My question is, what degree of unhealthiness do you think flavored water would have? Does anybody know about the contents of flavored water?
So is that like vitamin water, like that vitamin water?
Yeah, like grape or orange water, like that kind of stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be like the stuff that's like really fizzy and stuff.
Like Propel or something.
Yeah, like Propel.
Like Gatorade.
No? I mean,
well, those have the dyes in them, don't they?
Yeah, well, yeah, they do. But the vitamin waters are healthier, right? They give you those electrolytes. That's what I'm thinking you're talking about.
I was drinking one of those recently, and I was just like, am I being healthy right now? And like looked over a couple of days ago, and it was like 27 grams of sugar or something like that. And I was like, that is a lot of sugar. So I don't know about the other ones though.
Yeah, I don't know much about flavored water. That's something. I know they're always adding different ingredients to products, and there's not transparency. There's actually a list on the government website of, I think, over 1,500 preservatives that legally they don't have to list on the containers of any, bottled products, canned products, packaged products. So that's always something to kind of keep in mind. What are they legally allowed to use? Because, they're a business, they're running a business. And so in that are cost, and they have to have some kind of preservation. And I get that. But, that's what we're talking about, minimizing those kind of foods, and not consuming them as much. Sometimes I'll have pasta here and there, and so it's just making those healthier choices.
Have you ever heard the saying that when you go into the supermarket, you only shop on the perimeter of the supermarket, which is, the vegetables and, everything else is processed in the middle. So
That's the outer ring concept, and that's what I do. Like when I go there, I'm always looking for ways to kind of make your own, like, you can make your own corn tortillas. So Thane's been making them out of like ground organic blue corn flour, making your own tortillas instead of getting the ones that come in the bags and come with those preservatives. So
that's awesome.
yay. Oh, all right, so we ready on the next slide? I am excited. Comments of this live, the links to our wrap, to our TikTok campaign competition. So this is where, people are going to watch our TikTok dancer. And I think you can play it at least, Kimberly.
Stop the hate with Delta 8. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Be your highest boom and elevate to the moon. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Stop the hate with Delta 8. Be your highest boom and elevate to the moon. Lean to the side and rock it. Be your highest boom. We poppin'. Hit the site, go do some shopping. CBD got plenty options. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. I love my gummies. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Cause they so yummy.
Yummy gummies. Tag a friend, tag a lover, tag a Delta 8, come discover. Yummy, yeah, make it pop. Feels so good, I'm on top. Taste so good, you can't compare. Vegan gummies, Delta 8, premium ingredients. Delta 8, vegan gummies, taste so good, you can't compare. I don't even wanna share, no.
Lean to the side and rock it. Be your highest. We poppin'. Hit the site, go do some shopping. CBD got plenty options. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. I love my gummies. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Cause they so yummy.
Awesome. So I was not expecting that to play. We tried to play our first rap video, and that did not happen. So that was amazing. Thank you so much for playing that. That is our celebrity choreographer, Avis. He is on TikTok, and so he mapped out the dance for us and just really put together something that we could kind of share with the world, and that is stopping the hate with Delta 8, and in that is racial disparities, health inequalities, things of all those natures. There was another mass shooting, I believe, a few days ago in Texas. I know will.i.am is a big advocate, celebrity, and he sings in his music. He'll sing about, stopping the hate and just unification and bonding with others in this sense of love and light. So I think that's important, and that's why we're running this campaign. And we got the Delta 8 CBD gummies. It's a new product that's high in demand, and we're so excited to get our hands on these products July 7th. We'll keep everyone informed. And I think going on to the last slide, closing up our presentation, we really thank you for participating. All of our students here, I'd like to call them out by name. We have Kimberly, Monahan, Annette, Castillo, Victor, Schmitt-Bush. He's been rolling with us since the beginning, and Dean Bravo. And so thank you guys so much for just being a part of this meaningful movement. And we will see you guys next week for another live discussion. Thank you.
Thanks so much.